whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Hi, I'm attorney Gavin Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jell-O, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn that attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why a trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format.
The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States is available on Amazon Kindle. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Greetings, family. Of course, the place to be is right here with me. It is Random Topic Thursdays, the hottest live stream on YouTube and social media and everywhere. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's channel, we will discuss the following. FM Meka dropped by Capitol Records after just 7 days from being signed by the label. Biden administration to cancel student loans, sort of. Harry Styles, the king of Pop-Tarts, and how the city of Atlanta dropped the ban on power. All this and more, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be joined by the author of The Man Crisis, Shawn James, who comes on here every Thursday. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. But first, I need you to please also uh, smash up the likes. Smash up the likes. Also, I need you, if you have not, to go to Amazon Kindle and uh, purchase The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. It's on Kindle, ladies and gentlemen. Also, I would ask if you would check out our Creole Seasoning Blend, Lonnie'sCreoleBlends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Lonnie's goes great with every dish. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I need you also, if you like our music, go to Video Soul and also purchase Get On Up, which is available on Amazon Kindle and the Apple's Amazon Kindle and Spotify, but we prefer you download it on the Apple Store, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, we always like to get started by getting on up. So why don't we go on and do that? And sorry, I keep getting this noise in the back. My microphone picking up a lot of noise. All right, let's go on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get on up and do what we do.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is grooving. It's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on the floor. Come on, baby, gotta get on the floor, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Feel the groove, get on the floor. Gotta get on up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Gavin Richard Presents. Smash up the likes, hit the share, and subscribe if you have not, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings, family. Bless up, everyone. What's up, Bishop? What's up, Jade Matthews, Darius from Atlanta? Let's go on. Let's feel the groove, and let's bring in our guest. As always, he's not a guest, he's really a regular contributor here. Let's give it up for the author of The Man Crisis, Shawn James. Shawn, good evening.
Good evening, Gavin. How are you?
We're doing fine, brother. We're doing fine. Congratulations on your latest success with the John Haynes series. You want to talk a little bit about it before we get into our topics?
All right, I will talk about it. The John Haynes Kickstarter had a successful run with 88 pledges, and right now I am getting ready to start fulfillment to all of those people who put in a pledge for the John Haynes at Death's Door Kickstarter. So tomorrow I'm going to start heading to the post office to start mailing packages, and all the people who did put in a pledge, you'll be getting a comic, and people who put in a pledge for a digital comic will be getting it on New Comic Wednesday. So all those people, I want to thank them for putting in a pledge in the Kickstarter, and I hope you'll be there for the next Kickstarter. But until then, I'm asking everybody to pick up the spring 2021 books, which are ISIS Legacy and East-Team Horror of the Hyena Woman. And I want you to pick up this fall's upcoming books, which are The Woman Crisis and the prose version of John Haynes at Death's Door, which will be coming this fall.
All right, that's what's up. So you all get the spring collection, as Shawn has pointed out, and support our friend, our brother Shawn James and his ventures. I'm a big fan of The Man Crisis, which is his latest, which was one of his best books that I believe he's written. He's also working on The Woman Crisis, which is going to be available this fall. So y'all keep that in mind. Shawn, what does it take? Just curious, in writing a comic book, like how do you start? You come up with a concept. Do you start with the art first, or is the concept in?
I have to start with the concept, because if with the concept I have to write the story, and then from the story that's when I write the script, because with comics you have to create dynamic static images that sequence from one to the other, and you have to figure out what shots and will make the panel. So you have to have an image of the pictures in your mind, and that's what the chapters create of the story. And then you go from there to creating the script for the comic, so that the artist has a blueprint for what pictures to design to create the pictures that make the story move.
Right, that makes sense, because you want to have an idea first before you move forward and wasting time and putting stuff. But you can jot down obviously what ideas you have in your head. So if you're talking about a certain action scene with John Haynes versus a villain, you would just indicate that and how you would want that villain to look. But of course, you have to get the dialogue.
Yeah,
Correct.
I
Yeah.
have to get everything down first in the story, then I can move it, then I can change it in the panels. This is something I learned from screenwriting about adapting material, and I use those techniques to create comic books.
Right. Shawn, let's go ahead and get into the craziness that is Random Topic Thursdays. Uh, of course, many people may know already the Biden administration has to agree to cancel student loans, sort of. Now, what happened, and it was announced on yesterday, it was said that Joe Biden, President of the United States, was mumming over student loan forgiveness. And it was said that if you make under, now here's the catch, it's $10,000 to $20,000 in student loan forgiveness, depending on several factors. If you took a Pell Grant or not, and also if you make under $125,000 a year. So it's based on your income. Now, let's go to let's do CBS Los Angeles to what Biden state just briefly as to what his plan is and what he's talked about.
President Biden says he plans to erase billions in student debt. Borrowers could get up to $10,000 in relief, but some claim this is just a Band-Aid on a much bigger problem. KCL9 political reporter Tom Wade is live in West Hollywood now with reaction to this and analysis. Tom?
Hi, Pat. Well, as you can imagine, there is definitely some reaction on both sides of this issue. Some people say this $1,000 to ease student debt. That's a good thing, right? But others say it raises a whole other set of issues.
$80,000 is like a lot of money.
That's the amount of debt Kira Kurosaki left college with when she graduated 2 years ago. And now that debt looms large.
It is like something that's like really difficult. Like it's hard to start a family when you're in so much debt. It's hard to like, you know, be willing to make like all these like big investments when you're like in so much debt.
Some relief from student debt could come as soon as Wednesday, when President Biden is expected to announce student debt cancellation. His plan is to forgive up to $10,000 per borrower for those earning less than $125,000 a year at a price tag of about $300 billion. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona on Face the Nation Sunday.
We want to make sure that college is more accessible and more affordable for Americans across the country.
But those opposed to this plan say it actually unfairly benefits people with relatively higher incomes and penalizes those who didn't attend college but end up footing the bill.
I think that it's not the best use of money.
Ben Ritz is with the Progressive Policy Institute.
The student debt cancellation debate has sucked all the oxygen away from the debate about how do we make college more affordable, and also how we could, you know, while we're talking about this blanket debt forgiveness, other policies that would do more targeted relief.
And there's also frustration from some who spent years, even decades, paying off their loans.
The vast majority of people either didn't take out debt or they paid off their debt.
If you don't have a wealthy family and you don't get a nice scholarship, yeah, people that do have wealthy families definitely have an advantage.
Jonas Ginden supports student loan forgiveness, believing it helps level the playing field. He's not going to college, and the price was part of his decision.
I chose to move out here to do acting, and I don't want to pay student loans for the rest of my life. I know a lot of people that still are in my family, and that's not something I want to do.
There is still a hold on student loan federal-wise as far as right now in terms of when folks have to pay those loans, and that could continue as far as the midterm elections. That announcement also expected to come when President Biden announces the federal loan erasing of those debts. Reporting live in West Hollywood, I'm Tom Waite, KCAL9 News.
Okay, so let me show you all this next video. I'm on Twitter. Now, someone pointed this out, and you can see if I just type in Twitter, you know, different stuff with Biden came out. And last year, they got Jen Psaki to say that Biden could only cancel student debts if Congress passes a bill. So what changed? So this is
those people who feel, okay, but what about President Biden's campaign to forgive or cancel $10,000 in student debt? Pardon me. You know, what is the message to those people who feel that he's yet to follow through on that promise?
If Congress sends him a bill, he's happy to sign it. They haven't sent him a bill on that yet. Go ahead.
Okay.
but what about so the excuse last year was if Congress sends him a bill, he would sign it, but now he wants to be active and do it. The point I'm bringing with all of this is that with Joe Biden, listen, they've approved $300 billion to give to Ukrainians. They have approved, obviously, this bill that's, it's not a bill yet, but this plan to help out student loans. When they want to put something to pay, if they want to put pen to paper, Shawn, they can do it when they want to, when they feel like it. But if you look at the fact sheet, so this is it here on the whitehouse.gov. You look at it. Basically, what they're saying is that if you have a $20,000, they will deduct $20,000 from your debt if you make less than $125,000 per year, $250,000 for married couples, and you took out a Pell Grant. If you did not take out a Pell Grant, you're only eligible for $10,000 in cancellation. Now, what does that do to someone that is $90,000 in debt?
Doesn't really do much.
It doesn't even dent, not even with the interest
Doesn't even
rate.
dent the interest.
The interest rates that have accrued even make it worse. And they're forgiving, you're absolutely right, DD Phoenix. The government is forgiving these PPP loans. You've had celebrities that have gotten PPP loans that have been forgiven, multimillionaires. Come on, people, how long are we going to allow this shit for them to do this, to continue to screw us over time and time again? And that's interesting. They look at this, they put the statistics up of Pell Grant recipients, 60,000 or more, 30 to 60,000, 30 or less. So how do you think, if they're in debt by $90,000, what you think $20 or $10,000 is going to do? If you work in the public, like me, if you work as a PD, a public defender, or you work for charity, they can forgive your entire student loans only if you work 10 years, which is hard. It's almost like, I don't do this because of that, but it almost seems like it's I always thought it felt like a prison sentence almost. Do these 10. I'm going to do these 10, get out. You know, I always thought that way when I heard about it when I was in law school. So what's going to happen, and that's not going to, and even if you cancel this is not going to, what if the private schools, this is not going to stop them from raising the debt either. They can raise tuition.
Yeah. And this doesn't even affect Perkins and Stafford loans, which is what a lot of people have.
Right. I have Stafford loans. That's the main thing. So I want to know what you think about this. And then I'm going to ask you another major question about college. Do you think it's a scam? Do you think it's worth it? Because I look at, well, I'm going to save that for after you finish. But what are your thoughts on President Biden's plan? Do you think, I mean, we already heard you say you don't think it's going to help or do anything, but do you think it's better than nothing, as some people would say?
I think that the American people are being scammed. And I think that this whole announcement about forgiving student loans, this is another one of the empty symbolic gestures from the Biden administration, where passively it looks like they're doing something, and aggressively they're doing absolutely nothing at all to help the American people. And sadly, because many American people get in their feelings about what these announcements, they cannot see that they're actually being played by one of these, what I call manginas, and their insidious plan to just make this announcement to get people in their feelings so that they can go out here and react to this announcement. Now, what the Biden administration wants people to do is react and go out here and vote blue and think that they're going to get this type of policy made by the Biden administration. So what your Joker Joe is doing, what many, again, manginas love to do, is they like to create covert contracts with people where they make it where they say they're going to do something, but once they get their votes and get into office, they go out here and pull a swerve on the people by saying, oh, the Congress is the only one who can go out here and approve these policies. And what your Joker Joe is trying to bank on is that there will be those from the red party who will go out here and vote it down, and then they can have a reason to blame them for the failure. So what they want to do is play a game where they win-win for themselves. And what they want to do is, one, create the covert contract where people will think, oh, if I vote for the blue guys, they'll do something. But then later on, when it's time to get something done, nothing gets done at all. And nothing really gets done at all, because if you're talking about Pell Grants, it is a grant, and a grant doesn't need to be paid off. And it doesn't really impact many of the loans that really are creating a lot of the student loan debt problems, like the Stafford loans and the Perkins loans. People usually owe most of their money to the Stafford loans and the Perkins loans. So he's basically giving you nothing at all. And when you really think about it, he's talking about $20,000 on when the average student loan debt I'm seeing these days is 50, 60, 70, 90, 100,000, even $200,000 and $300,000. So how is this actually helping anyone? That's the critical question I want to ask Joker Joe, because again, I can see the passive aggressiveness with his whole plan. Again, empty symbolic gesture passively to make people feel like he's doing something, to go out here and vote in the midterms, but aggressively, you're not going to get anything after the midterms but one big screw job. It's similar to what happened here in New York City when we voted for mayor. A lot of black people thought, and a lot of New Yorkers thought they were going to get change with Eric Adams, but all they got was a big screw job. And that's what you're going to get with Joker Joe, one big screw job where you don't get any loan forgiveness. All you get is attacked once again by a person who truly hates the American people by promising them student loan forgiveness to try to get votes, and then is going to yank the football away or say, "Oh, the Congress didn't give this to you. It was the Republicans who denied this to you," when he never had an intention of forgiving those loans in the first place.
Sean, let me play this video right quick. I want everybody to see this. This is what he was getting off the podium talking about his plan.
People who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own the multi-billion-dollar businesses that she want these guys to give them all a tax breaks? Is that fair?
Strong man argument.
So when he wants to argue something, he stood on his ground. He'll go back and forth with the press. I mean, I've seen him walk out when he's.
Is it unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own the multi-billion-dollar businesses that she want these guys to give them all a tax breaks? Is that fair? What do you think?
What about those that get the PPP loans? They got forgiven. You had multimillionaires that got forgiven for those loans. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she had PP loans forgiven. You see? Yeah, her company had loans worth of $183,504 that were forgiven. And look who wrote this, Sean, who's backing the president. Millions of Americans bankrupt. Millions of Americans, disproportionately Black adults, accumulated astronomical student debt in their quest to receive a higher education. Polis's student loan debt forgiveness plan is a step in the right direction toward reducing this growing debt crisis. That's what Ben Crump had to say. That's my closest Ben Crump impression.
Well, these bootlicks don't really understand what's going on. College.
I think he's trying. I think they understand what's going on. They basically are being pushed to vote, get people to vote blue no matter who. It's like Stacey Abrams. It's when they're asking about reparations, she's talking about how she needs the black male vote, but never promises them what she's going to do when she gets in office. Doesn't give any guarantees where she stands. So that's where we stand with Stacey Abrams. Yeah, Unsung once said, but rainbow riders get everything their debaucherous hearts desire. Well, Joe Biden, remember, Joe Biden comes from Delaware, and, which is a very small state, would have been part, and I think was, a lot of people forget, even getting closer to that area, was part of the Confederacy, if I'm not mistaken. Just like Virginia, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Biden, y'all know the deal on him. Judge Joe goes on and, oh, that jackass in chief. Oh, God, that Dana, that jackass in chief, turn his ass off. But finish with, I wanted to ask you, Sean, do you think college is a scam? Do you think student loans are a scam? Do you think college is worth it now?
I don't believe college is worth it anymore. Now, many years ago, college was worth something because people could go out here and learn some things that would help them become critical thinkers. But ever since I say about the 50s, we have started to see college turn into a consumer product. And with the commodification of college, people are not getting educations. No, what they're being done is they're indoctrinated into becoming consumers. And a college degree has become one big attachment that people use to go out here and clout chase with. And this is what I saw growing up in the 90s, coming from a small college, people using college degrees from larger universities to go out here and clout chase, and then people who are employers going out here and clout chasing by saying their employees went to certain universities. So the college degree really doesn't have as much value as it did many years ago because it's just another consumer status item. And many of the people coming out of these colleges, like your Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, your Barack Obama, they're coming from these top schools, but they're dumber than a box of rocks. And many of these people, they show that they have no critical thinking skills, no ability to use logic and reason, things people used to go to college to learn how to do. And these people never develop these skills. And all we see from what's coming out of today's modern colleges with these social justice warriors is a lot of people who are big on their emotions and feeling, but we really don't see much critical thinking. And that's the sad part about today's college. And I've talked about this many years ago in a video. I talked about how your college is nothing but a scam. And many of these schools, they're just big grant money hustles. They hustle for grant money. They hustle for student loans. They say that they're suffering, even though many of these institutions get billions of dollars. We don't see any sort of result. And then they tell us we need to get an education, but we don't see much education when we look at the fruits of their schools. Like we see these AOCs and these other types and these social justice types who are currently working in places like the comic book industry. We see that they didn't really learn much, but they were indoctrinated into your far left ideologies and socialist ideologies. And many of these people, they don't study history. They don't really study to go out here and learn how to analyze something and take it apart. Most of these people, again, they come in with a lot of emotion, but not a lot of logic. So when I look at the college system, it's not really producing quality people who would be better workers. Moreover, I've heard from many people say, oh, a guy with a college degree, he's going to be more committed. But when I was working on jobs, it was the guys with the bachelor's and the master's degrees who were the first to run out the door and quit a job after 3 or 4 months. But the guys with maybe the AA degrees or the guys with the GEDs, they would stay for years committed to learning a craft. So when I look at your college today, it's not really good for anything in a lot of cases outside of possibly maybe medicine or possibly pursuing a career in finance or law. Outside of those fields, I really don't see much of a use for a college degree because many of the majors that they have, you can learn this stuff on YouTube now from seasoned professionals and get the same lessons for free.
Wall Street Journal wrote an interesting article. Is this the end of college as we know it for millions of Americans? Getting a 4-year degree no longer makes sense. Here's what could replace it. Now, I can't open the article because, of course, if I could open it. My first free article. Now, this is a woman, Rachel Witcher, who's has her PhD in clinical psychology, is 33 years old, lives in Tampa, earns $94,000 as a psychologist, but carries $300,000 in debt. Her husband is 37-year-old who worked in a warehouse for several years before becoming an apprentice electrician. He expects to earn comparable money when he's finished, minus the debt. It says when and if they have children, Dr. Winton says her advice will be to follow her husband's path and avoid a 4-year degree. She said, I don't see the value in a lot of what I studied. Unless they have a really specific degree in mind, we both prefer they take a more pragmatic, less expensive route. Yeah, if I have children, I'm not going to encourage them, obviously, to be dummies, but I would encourage them that's to do and to go into something that makes money and also keeps their, something that they're great at, and also something that is more affordable for them, that they don't have to make the mistakes that we did. Unsunken One says she's here with me in Tampa. Yeah, Delaware was a Union state. You're right, but it's not far from Virginia and so forth. They had Confederate sympathizers all the way up in New York. I mean, they got Confederate monuments out in Arizona. Arizona had nothing to do with the Confederacy. I don't even think they were a state at the time. Well, no, I'm correct. I think they were just getting developed, but they were out in the West. What the hell they had to do with the battle versus North and South? Yeah, Delaware was a Union state. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Shawn James and I speaking truth tonight. Yeah, I just think encourage the kids to do something that's comparable with their skills. Because everybody, truth be told, is not meant for college. There are people who have succeeded that didn't go all the way to college. We got actors and actresses that make, although they're in fantasy land, they make millions of dollars because people love entertainment. People want to be entertained. Bread and circuses, like Caesar said, right?
Yep.
So that's what we got. So it's not really a cancellation, but some people say it's better than nothing. I don't see it's like shaving. It's like stabbing me in the back and pulling the knife out like 3 inches, but not pulling it all the way out. All right. Speaking of entertainment, I was showing this to Shawn. This FN Meka thing that's going on. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen it. Oh, and before I do that, I'm going to go back to the channel. We're going to take a poll. I want to ask you tonight's question, brothers and sisters. Back to the channel. Is school worth it anymore? Is college worth it? Give me a yes or no. Right, it was a territory, just like Missouri was a territory. It was a neutral territory. Yeah, but Biden, Judge Joe Brown, he talks about Biden and his racist ass Delaware, not far from Klan country. He talks about it. All right. But this FN Meka thing, so that's the question I'm asking y'all. Is college worth it on the poll? Give me a yes or no. We'll look at the polls later. But have you all, and Shawn, we talked about this, FN Meka. Now, this is artificial intelligence. This thing that they have here, ladies and gentlemen, FN Meka, is a robot, essentially, that raps. Now, you already know where I'm going with this, right? So, it was signed by Capitol Records. And this FN Meka, now this is a virtual rapper. It has its own Instagram. Now it's been set to private, but you see how many followers it has? 222,000. It has on TikTok, it has over 3 million followers. If you go to its YouTube music channel, which I won't play any music because you know what they're gonna have, but it's got its own singles called Florida Water single. Now, just look at the picture of this thing when you see this, and you notice what it's trying to, or who I should say, rather it's trying to resemble, with the nose ring in its ear, the big nose, the dreadlocks. It's basically trying to mimic black people. And he set it to private. And obviously, now this is the creator of FN Meka. Now, what has happened a couple of days ago is that Capitol Records had signed an augmented reality artist, FN Meka, to its label on August 12th. And not even 10 days after it was signed, Capitol Music Group decided to cut ties with FN Meka, a virtual robot rapper. I stand corrected. I said 3 million followers. He has 10 million on TikTok. The company had previously teased the project, the first augmented reality artist to sign to a major label, it said, as just a preview of what's to come. However, yet there was growing backlash to what skeptical observers said amounted to digital blackface, including content that seemed to trivialize incarceration and police brutality. Capitol said in a statement that it had severed ties with the FN Meka project, effective immediately. We offer our deepest apologies to the Black community for our insensitivity in signing this project without asking enough questions about equity and the creative process behind it. We thank those who have reached out to us with constructive feedback in the past couple of days. Your input was invaluable as we came to the decision to end our association with the project. Now, FN Meka was backed by the company called Factory New, which described itself as a first of its kind next generation music company specializing in virtual beings. What this basically is, ladies and gentlemen, they even got a crypto rapper called Little Bitcoin. What this is, guys, is, and why Capitol did this, this will be an artist who they could get millions of dollars to make off of, because that's what it's about. And they don't need an artist that can think for itself. So a robot basically can do whatever it wanted to do. You sign it, you can take all the royalties, the rights to it. They're not going to fight you over back royalties, not going to fight you for its publishing like a Sam Cooke or a James Brown or Ray Charles owning their masters. They're not going to have that, or even a Michael Jackson. Yeah, I remember Cedar on Little Bitcoin is beefing with MCETH. I remember Cedar. I don't remember Lucifer, but Cedar's World was on BET. You remember that, Shawn?
Yeah, I don't, but I never had cable, so.
You what?
I never had cable in the 90s. Well, I just got cable in 2018.
Oh, wow. I can believe that. So Industry Blackout had actually posted a letter to social media calling out Capitol Records. They said, quote, "It is a direct insult to the Black community and our culture, an allegation of gross stereotypes, appropriative mannerisms that derive from Black artists, complete with slurs infused in lyrics." In fact, the executive who quit the virtual rapper project after the backlash, Anthony Martini, is distancing himself from the augmented reality rapper FN Meka, with whom Capitol Records severed ties earlier this week after viral clips of the project using the N-word and propagating racial stereotypes went viral. As Billboard lays out, Martini is a former artist manager who helped develop artists such as Lil Dicky, and TYO, and was CEO of Royalty Exchange from 2021 until earlier this year. Yeah, so this thing was moonwalking. Martini's voice is, the FN Meka's voice is a Black guy, and not this malicious plan of white executives. It's literally no different from managing a human artist, except that it's digital. Oh, it's a big fucking difference, though. Is it not? It's a big difference. Oh, it's different from a human artist. He's not going to complain. You don't know This is part, and Tariq Nasheed was talking about it. This is part of that transhumanism thing that's going on too. But I saw this. I don't want to play and get a copyright strike, but I want to show the video of. I think we got it on Twitter, but
This guy right here could literally be the death of the music industry. His name is FN Meka, and he's not even a human being. NFT AI robot artist. What's even crazier about this is he signed to Columbia Records, and he seems to be taking over the music industry really fast. Although you'd think they'd make him look a little better than just a generic SoundCloud rapper with some trash and trap music, but I guess that's what the people want these days. Let me know in the comments if you're thinking.
this is what the guy who did the FN Meka voice, he actually said he's glad that Capitol killed the contract. Capitol Records used to be called the house that Nat built because Nat King Cole was the one that built Capitol Records from the ground up. They had actual artists like Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole that kept them going, you know? And then they put this shit out here. So it's gone from the house that Nat built to what's up, niggas? That's what it's called. FN Mecca. I mean, fuck niggas. That's what that means to me, Shawn. Look at this. Look at this.
It's a modern day minstrel show.
See, I can't play the song because I'm gonna get a copyright strike, but they got him moonwalking like Michael Jackson. He's got a Gucci car. No, a Louis Vuitton car. I'm sorry. This is so. There's been some backlash, but Hitman Wednesday was the one who is behind the voice of that. Hitmaker Wednesday. My understanding, he didn't get paid for this. Go ahead, Shawn. What you think? Go ahead and lay it out.
Well, this looks like another plan to try to hijack hip hop and take it away from black.
I can't hear you, Shawn.
Oh, something must be wrong. Let me see what's wrong. Maybe it's my microphone. Hold on 1 second. Okay, let me take a look at. Okay, my microphone is working.
Remove you and bring you back. Hold on.
All right.
Try now, Shawn.
All right, let's see what happens now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I still can't hear him. Can y'all hear Shawn? No.
All right, let me take a look at my. Okay, my microphone.
The hooligan, I'm sorry, is the voice of FN Mecca, but I think this producer, Hitmaker Wednesday, was also behind it. But Kyle the Hooligan is the one who blew up. Is the one
my microphone. Let me see what's happening.
A story on in an Instagram post that he was never even paid for doing this. Basically, how they ghosted him on the project.
Okay,
and yeah,
it's working. Looks like.
Tariq Nasheed would point out.
Okay, let's see what happens now.
For whatever reason. Shawn, why don't you just do this? Why don't you delete yourself and I'll bring you back in? But while we're waiting on Shawn, let's go ahead and play that Instagram post from Kyle the Hooligan when he gives his take on this.
So I know y'all probably been hearing about this FM Meka stuff. People been DMing me like, and I try to keep it quiet because I was gonna really wait till this shit blew up.
I don't know if y'all can hear me. I couldn't hear that. What's going on here? I couldn't hear myself. Something was wrong.
YouTube being YouTube.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know. Maybe it's me. Let me leave the studio because I can't hear myself talk. I can't hear nobody. I can't hear the audio, nothing, and everything is. Sean?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, now I can hear y'all. All right, I got y'all. All right, but let's play the video right quick.
What's going on, everybody? This Kyle the Hooligan. So I know y'all probably been hearing about this FM Meka stuff. People been DMing me like, and I try to keep it quiet because I was gonna really wait till this shit blew up for real and then like went after them because basically it was like they came to me with this AI shit and was like, would I want to be the voice of it? And I thought it was gonna be like some collaboration. They promised me equity into the company, percentages, all this stuff. So I'm thinking like, okay, there's about to be some collab, something different for me. So I could do my music and be on some AI stuff with this FM Meka character. So everything's going good. Next thing I know, niggas just ghosted me. Like, use my voice, use my sound, use the culture, and literally just left me high and dry. I ain't get a dime off of nothing. And they got record deals, all this stuff. I wasn't involved with no meetings or none of that. Like, which is fucked up. So honestly, like, I'm glad they ass got canceled. Like, that's
The first rapper to get ghosted by an AI rapper. He got finessed.
So I know y'all probably been hearing about this FM Meka stuff. People been DMing me like, and I try to keep it quiet because I was gonna really wait till this shit blew up for real and then like went after them because basically it was like they came to me with this AI shit and was like, would I want to be the voice of it? And I thought it was gonna be like some collaboration. They promised me equity into the company, percentages, all this stuff. So I'm thinking like, okay, there's about to be some collab, something different for me. So I could do my music and be on some AI stuff with this FM Meka character. So everything's going good. Next thing I know, niggas just ghosted me. Like, use my voice, use my sound, use the culture, and literally just left me high and dry. I ain't get a dime off of nothing. And they got record deals, all this stuff. I wasn't involved with no meetings or none of that. Like, which is fucked up. So honestly, like, I'm glad they ass got canceled. Like, that's karma for the ass, because God don't play with me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like, what's going on, everybody? This Kyle the Hooligan. So I know y'all.
Take him to the barbecue, Sean.
Yeah, well, this looks like the music industry trying to erase black entertainers and creating their own caricature based on their own ideals. Now, when it comes down to many of the white executives who hijacked hip hop and rap from black people back in the late 80s, these people, they wanted to control the narrative of rap and hip hop. And this whole AI, whatever it is their plan to take our music and take our culture and make it into programming that reflects their ideas about Black people. Now, when I look at this so called AI rapper, it's nothing more than another minstrel image similar to that was presented during the days of Jim Crow, like Amos and Andy. So, this so called AI rapper is nothing more than a caricaturized image of Black people, which is just exaggerating all of the stereotypes about Black people. But that is by design because a computer program is only the sum of its programmers, and most of these programmers are primarily white males. And many of these white males who work in IT and also work in the music business, many of these people are anti Black, and the only ideal images they have of Black people are old stereotypes from the olden days of the 70s and very popular celebrities like the late Michael Jackson. So the code that they're putting in is based on their racist ideas. And again, a computer program, whether it be an artificially intelligent or one of these algorithms, all of the code comes from men. And if it's coming from white men, many of those white men have racist ideas about black people. So they're going to make a image that reflects their racism. And that's what people don't understand about computers. Computer programs are a reflection of the people who produce the code. And that's why this so-called AI rapper came out the way that it did, because I guarantee you, if there were black programmers making the code, we would have probably gotten a more balanced image depending on which black person was making the code. But the people making this code, again, they're doing this because they're coming from their racist view of black people. And that's why we got stereotypes of this rapper moonwalking and images of black people getting beat up by the police, because this is what makes the white racists comfortable and allows them to live in their smooth world. As long as they're seeing images that reflect their ideas, they feel comfortable. And that's what they wanted to put out here until there was all of this backlash regarding the images of this artificially intelligent rapper. But again, it shows that the artificial intelligence comes from the ignorance of white supremacists, and that code to create this artificially intelligent rapper, again, comes from the ignorance of white supremacy. So this is why it's important for us to really take control of our media and take control of our art form, which is rap and hip hop, because these big corporations can't be trusted to do this, because when they do it, all they do is promote the same anti-black racism and promote the same racist stereotypes that they've been pushing since the days of the antebellum South.
Yeah. I want to just read this last line from Tiffany Red. Tiffany Red is a Grammy-winning songwriter and activist. She's founder of the 100 Percenters. She stated that, asked if she would have vetted FN Meka's previously releases before signing a deal, she exclaimed, "Yes, if your company is benefiting from hip hop and R&B, which are the most impactful genres of music, both culturally and commercially, of the past 25 years, you need to have people in there who care about this stuff in top positions. This isn't about AIs or NFIs. This is about diversity and inclusion at the top of these music companies. It's so frustrating. The industry says we want your voice, your talent, your swagger, your dance, but we don't want you. Why would they promote such a dangerous narrative? Guns, gangs, prisons. All they talk about is black pain. Where is our joy? They have to be more responsible. This influences our kids." She also went further, stating in an op-ed that she wrote back in June for Variety that their Capital and even Factory now are not the only ones in need of diversity and inclusion. When it comes to senior level leadership, it takes intention and literal representation to fix this outdated system. No, representation with an agenda. Representation that knows how to kick buck, because I think what happens, even with that, yes, we get black executives in, let's say, these major positions, major movie roles, major executive seats. However, how does that benefit black people? It's the same thing with Barack Obama being president. What did that do for black people other than seeing a black president? But he was scared to sign a pardon for Jack Johnson. He was scared to talk about reparations. He was against it. He didn't want to talk about even the Voting Rights Act coming up and being expiring, but he pushed for other people. See, it's not just about having the representation. You got to have the balls to go up there to actually change things from the ground up. That's what your Maynard Jackson's was doing. That's what your Dutch Morials was doing back in the 60s, in the 70s, when you had black mayors. But they knew they were taking a risk. They knew who the enemy was back then. I think it's harder now because everybody sees the Jay-Z's and LeBron James. And let's stick to music. Jay-Z's and Kanye West that are multi-billionaires, and you think, well, they've made it. But How does that benefit us?
Doesn't benefit us at all.
Yeah. That's why we got to create our own labels, ladies and gentlemen. We got to do for ourselves.
All right, I'll be right back in a second.
Write our own songs, write our own music. Okay, Shawn is running out. He'll be back. That's what we have to do. Yeah, all they do is make minstrel shows. Look at our stuff. I'm gonna wait for Shawn to get back, but look at the stuff that we've had to deal with major networks like BET. Look at the programming, how that changed. You know, someone mentions Cedar's Baby, Cedar's World. I remember when she was like this, her song was The Strong Black Woman, but it was, I always thought it was stereotypical. I thought something was wrong with it when I saw it. Because it was a virtual reality show. And I remember when it came on, it was in the 90s, late 90s. And it ended like in 2003. Kitty Kaboom was the voice.
I'm back.
Kitty Kaboom was the voice of Cedar. But I remember that, Cedar's World. All right, Shawn's back.
Yeah.
So let's hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, two things, and I'll try and get through them quickly, Shawn. How long do we have with you?
I can stay till 11.
All right. Well, we're not going to be that long, but I want to talk about how the city of Atlanta dropped the bag on power. No, I am not talking about this type of power, ladies and gentlemen. I am not talking about power from the TV show. I'm not talking about power, the Temptation song. I'm talking about real power like this.
I would do anything.
I'm talking about what happened with this. Now, if you remember Rayshard Brooks, I talked about this on Tuesday. It was announced that there would be no charges against the men the officers who killed Rayshard Brooks out in Atlanta, Georgia. Your Rayshard Brooks was shot outside of a Wendy's when he was found drunk and behind the wheel and ran off from the officers on and took one of their stun guns when an officer, Garrett Wolf, fired several shots, killing your Rayshard Brooks. And if we remember, Atlanta was burning. There was protesting going on. The people in Atlanta were outraged as to what happened with your Rayshard Brooks. And now it was announced that there would be no charges in the wake of this shooting by this special prosecutor. Now, I'll just play this so everybody can know what's going on and what I'm tying it with power. And I'll show you two things. This is the special prosecutor here, Pete Scandalikas.
In conclusion, Officer Brosnan and Rolfe were acting within the scope of their duties and authority when placing Rayshard Brooks under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol. Officers had no way of knowing or anticipating that within seconds of this encounter, both would be attacked by Brooks and that Brooks would overpower them, take the taser from one of them, fire the stolen taser at both of them, and then attempt to escape while continuing to fire the taser at the pursuing officer. To conclude, Brosnan and Rolfe committed no crimes. Both acted as reasonable officers would under the facts and circumstances of the events of that night. Both acted in accordance with well-established law and were justified in the use of force regarding the situation. We do wish to extend our sympathies and condolences to Mr. Meka Miller. Mr. Meka Miller was scheduled to meet with me today prior to this press conference. Shortly before the press conference, we received a text that she would not be in attendance, and we tried to reach out to her by telephone to let her know what the announcement would be. and Ms. Miller did not pick up the phone. I understand that Ms. Miller is, in all likelihood, upset with the result, but the result is the right one based upon law and facts. And I know that more than Mrs. Miller will probably be upset with the decision in this case. But as prosecutors, we are guided by the law and by the facts, and that's what we did. I will tell you that all the times we did meet with Miss Miller, she was very kind, she was patient with us, she was quite respectful, and she wanted us to make contact with her directly, and we honored those wishes.
Respectful, my ass. Now they get their jobs back, by the way. That's the other thing. And of course, I showed you last time, and I'll show Shawn the officers, the attorneys that responded.
All right, let's just break this down for a second. 2 police officers lost the fight. You saw it on the district attorney's breakdown of why they were the special district attorney's breakdown on why this is happening, why they did not charge these officers. 2 police officers lost the fight. Now, is losing a fight a reason enough for Rayshard Brooks to have lost his life? That's the question. You lost the fight. There are 100 other tools at your disposal that you can use as a police officer to catch a suspect that's fleeing. They have helicopters. They have other police officers. They have K9 units. They have cars. They have everything. That is their job, to catch people who run. Rayshard Brooks had a taser that was spent. In his hand, he had a useless piece of plastic. The officer, they say, didn't know, and he was moving too fast, and in the heat of the moment, you can't tell what's going on. Well, in the heat of the moment, if you can't decide what's going on, you don't need to shoot someone in the back when they're 19 feet in front of you. This is what we already knew they were going to say. They didn't say anything new. They didn't show us anything different. They showed us in detail that he won the fight. Okay, should he have been fighting with the police? Absolutely not. And like Chris said, at that time, if they had killed him, we wouldn't all be here today. But they didn't. He won the fight and he tried to get away. And they felt whatever way they felt, not even they, I'm sorry, Officer Rolfe felt whatever way Officer Rolfe felt and decided to shoot him in the back. Whatever else it is, whatever else happened before, he was shot in the back, 19 feet away. Now, we have seen over the last few years, school shooters, mass shooters, people shooting up churches. Many of these people were taken into custody without incident. They definitely were not killed. So how is it that some of these people who shoot and kill many, many, many people can get taken in without incident? But Rayshard Brooks, who beat up 2 police officers, which is bad, we all know that is bad, who is running down Metropolitan Avenue. They went into his toxicology report. They said he had this in his system and that in his system and that in his system. And we'll talk about that in a second. But you have a guy who you're saying is drunk, he's on drugs, and he's running away from you. So you can't catch a drunk guy on drugs running down Metropolitan Avenue. You have to shoot him in the back. But people who kill 10 and 20 people, they can be taken in without incident. We all know this is ridiculous. Why are we letting them tell us that this is okay? Because it's not. Let's talk about the drugs. They went into detail at the very end about the drugs that were in his system, the drugs that were in his car. Why did they go into that? Because they wanted to sound like he was a hulking threat. He was a huge drugged up guy who beat them up and they had no choice but to kill him. That's not true. Here's a choice. Take your L. Then use all the tools at your disposal to go find him, lock him up. Let the criminal justice process do its job. They didn't do that.
I'm not going to play all of it for time's sake, but I do want to point these things out because I want Shawn to comment. I want you to see this. Now, this is Paul Howard. Paul Howard was the Fulton County District Attorney who initiated the charges against the officers. And he was facing an election in August against your Fannie Willis. Now, you know, or most of you already know what happened with Paul Howard. Fannie Willis becomes the district attorney of Fulton County. And she steps down from the Rayshard Brooks case because she tried to blame it on your Paul Howard by using this to campaign for president. I'm sorry, for prosecutor of Fulton County, main prosecutor, district attorney. And now she steps down, but it was also reported, and I had heard that she had received campaign monies, and you can go look this up, donations from one of the officers involved in representing the two officers that killed Rayshard Brooks. Of course, you know it was Rolfe who shot and fired the gun, the fatal shots that killed Rayshard Brooks, Garrett Rolfe. And there was another, I can't think of the other officer who was involved in it, but nevertheless, Devin Bronson, that's his name. And she steps down, right?
Yeah.
Now, they give the case to this special prosecutor, Pete Scandalakis, who's a member of, I believe, the Prosecutors Association out in Georgia. And I'm sure it was a room, and you listen to, if you listen to the other attorney who spoke, it was a room filled with people who did not look like any of them. And that prosecutor actually said, we do believe that Black lives do matter, but said that this was not the same case as your George Floyd or your Ahmaud Arbery. Now, what they essentially said, guys, if you fight the police, you can get killed. This was a death warrant. Of course, I do not encourage people to fight the police. The proper thing to do is to surrender. But as the attorney was explaining, you let the process do its work. You let like they always tell us when something happens, let the process do its job. Take your time. Don't do this. Don't do that. Right? We're always taught that, right? So they did not allow it for this man. Fannie Willis's term, according to this, since she was elected in 2020, it's I believe for district attorney, it's every 4 years. If I'm not mistaken, out in Fulton County, someone could correct me. Now, she's the first woman to hold office in Fulton County. But yeah, so 4 years, it expires in 2024. So I want my Black people up in Atlanta, I want y'all to take note with this. She got 431,000 votes. She won the Democratic primary runoff against Paul Howard by 71%. So I want y'all to pay attention to this stuff because I say this, Atlanta, you guys dropped, and that's what it's called, Atlanta, y'all dropped the bag on power. This is on the people for this. And I want to get Shawn's take on it because Atlanta, and you know this, Shawn, is seen as the Black Mecca, right? This was the town that was built by Maynard Jackson, the first Black mayor of Atlanta, who came in, revitalized that airport. That Atlanta airport is, I believe, number one outside of Chicago's O'Hara and JFK's New York, I think is the busiest in the world. Third busiest in the world. And Maynard is called the Jackson Hartsfield Metro Atlanta Airport. Maynard Jackson did that, and he made sure that 80% of Black contractors were in on that project. You aware of that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Maynard changed the game. But we know, and Maynard, I think after Maynard became the mayor of Atlanta, I'm trying to think of who his successor was. I believe it was Andy Young. Yeah, Andy Young was his successor. But he revived, yeah, he's notable for that. He was the second longest serving mayor of Atlanta outside of William B. Hartsfield. He served 3 terms. Became mayor at the age of 35. But what do you think of this, Shawn? Because Atlanta's supposed to be the Black Mecca.
Yeah, but this is a textbook case of what I talked about a couple of months ago with you about being vigilant. And sadly, Black folks, they get emotional over cases like Rayshard Brooks when they happen, but they don't follow through. And it's that lack of follow through that many of these rogue police officers and white supremacists take advantage of, because when you have Black folks who are just, they get emotional for a minute about these murders, what they do is they go back to business life as usual, and then when they're going back to life as usual, they go out here and elect their person to represent in places like the district attorney's office, and they then go out here and review these cases and give officers like this a pass. So this is again, like you said, Black folks dropped the ball because you had a prosecutor in office who was going to look at this case, but you didn't elect this prosecutor. No, a lot of people they did not go out here and think about getting the tangible of justice or a candidate who was going to support the tangible of justice. What they did was blow that candidate off, take that election for granted, and now this case is a casualty of blowing off that voting for that prosecutor. Black people have to understand something that the late David Carroll talked about politics. You have to come together with your agenda. You have to hammer out your agenda. You have to pick your candidates. And once you pick your candidates, you send them to represent your interests. This is something many Black people take for granted, and it leads to situations like this where the left and the right go out here, put their hand-picked candidates in place, and their hand-picked candidates, what they do is gloss over our issues after all the rioting was done, because after all the rioting burned down the Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks was murdered, what happened was the Black people, after they got their feelings sated, went back and voted for another candidate as related to the system. So this, again, is our fault because we take our votes for granted. We take the political process for granted, and we don't come in and follow through and stay consistent, because the only way you can get results is to continue being persistent and also be consistent in your actions. But many Black people, they don't follow through. They'll get emotional at the start of things, but when it comes down to putting in the work to get to the finish line, we don't really put in the work towards getting to the finish line to get the tangible of justice, because the justice system runs slow, and it's not really glamorous to go out here and work through bureaucracy. No, most people want to get the attention and the clout as related to going out here and being a part of the riot, but they don't want to go out here and do the hard work of trying to get justice. And that's a long road, but a lot of Black folks don't want to stay on that long road to finish the course. And we've got to start finishing the course as related to the tangible of justice, or else we're going to see a lot more Rayshard Brooks, because they're going to put their DAs in, and their DAs are going to continue pushing the anti-Black agenda.
This is called Atlanta, Black Mecca of the South. That's what they called it. I remember Ebony Magazine had an article about this right there. This is it, portraying Atlanta as a Black Mecca. Now, it's known for this.
Yeah, they turned it into a sewer. Problem is, we're not diligent on things we need to be diligent on. We're not vigilant.
This is Atlanta.
And they're getting ready to take, after this, to take our community. Oh, good gravy.
That's Atlanta.
Yeah.
What? This is coming up. This, I think, for Labor Day. Next week.
Yeah. They're pushing these anti-black agendas.
See Diana Floss there. Let me turn this off. I couldn't. I wonder what would Maynard Jackson say if he saw that?
He would just shake his head at that, because that goes completely against everything he was trying to build. I mean, he was trying to build a city where black people could have a great quality of life, but sadly, you get a lot of black people who take their lives for granted. And because they take their lives for granted, they don't appreciate the sacrifices that men like him made. And because they don't appreciate what they have, they go out here and go and participate in debaucherous and riotous living. And that prevents us from actualizing ourselves and building a strong black community.
Most definitely. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Atlanta screwed up. They should have kept Paul Howard. You know?
Yeah.
Paul Howard was, I mean, regardless of what you, and I've talked to people in Atlanta who know the situation, they say Paul Howard wasn't the most honest guy or didn't care for him. But still, once he made this public and said he was going to do it, he was then obligated to follow through with it. Right? So you at least got something where he's going to hold them accountable and we're going to have a trial. Now let the judicial system do its process. That's what we are saying. You shoot somebody, you just don't get to walk away with it. You got to go to court, just like they do with us all the time when we go in court. Even if we're saying it's justified, they still got to be able to push and prove their defense that, yes, this was a justifiable homicide. And if they did it in a court of law with a jury of its peers, and especially in Atlanta where they would have some of us that would look like us, we could actually see what would have turned out and happened. They chose not to do this. They were scared. This is why I say in terms of voting locally, it is hell of important. But you also got to have something to vote for, too. I have no doubt. This was something to vote for. In Atlanta, you dropped the bag. So all of what you did to downtown Atlanta when you blew out CNN and an Omni Hotel, you damaged all of that. All of that's nothing now. That was for nothing.
Yep.
You burned down Wendy's. Okay. Guess what? They got another Wendy's right around the corner that's going to be built. It's a wrap. I want to talk about this, just getting back to entertainment the last time, Shawn.
All right.
I should have talked about it with FM Meka, but when you see something like this, Harry Styles, I call him the king of Pop Tarts. Did you see where Rolling Stone magazine had a cover of Harry Styles, and they had Harry Styles on the cover, calling him the world's most wanted man, and said that he was the new king of pop? Did you see this?
No, I haven't seen it, but I just think it's more propaganda.
Well, I'll show it to you. This is the article, and this is the article on Pop Buzz, and this is Entertainment Tonight that said this. But this is what happened here. Let me play the article for you, play the video for you, courtesy of Entertainment Tonight, and let me just get the copyright disclaimers for fair use. Fair use allows for commentary, criticism, and news of otherwise copywritten material, but it is permitted under the fair use portion of the Copyright Act of 1976. But you see the cover of the magazine right there, right? They say how the new king of pop set the music world aflame.
Crowned the new king of pop on the cover of Rolling Stone UK.
Harry is pretty much on top of the world right now, but this cover quickly upset fans and the family of late Michael Jackson, who, of course, is famously known as the king of pop.
Michael's nephew, Taj Jackson, was among those hurt by the cover, writing on Twitter, "There is no new king of pop. You don't own the title Rolling Stone, and you didn't earn it. My uncle did. Decades of dedication and sacrifice. The title has been retired. No disrespect to Harry Styles. He's mega talented. Give him his own unique title."
Another Twitter user pointed out that Michael, quote, broke racial barriers, revolutionized, and set the standard for the music industry through his groundbreaking creativity and pioneering, a true legend.
So some also claim that people take the term king of pop really lightly and easily throw it around. And the Michael Jackson estate, guys, they actually own the trademark to the king of pop. So Carlos,
that's it.
Boom.
Like that's it right there.
The conversation's
right?
over.
Like I think it's fun to say things like that. Hey, is so and so the new king of pop? But if they own the trademark and you're not allowed to use it, I guess then
So
you
how
just
does the
can't
Rolling
do
Stone,
it.
not the Rolling Stone, how does Rolling Stone not know that? Or maybe they do. Like, how did
Because
that
Rolling
happen?
Stone
I'm
is
not sure.
racist.
Maybe
They've had a history of doing this to black artists. Michael Jackson was not even allowed on the cover of Rolling Stone magazines at one point. And it wasn't until Thriller, he actually told Rolling Stone magazine, there's going to come a day and time when you all will need me to be on the cover of your magazines. Because I know you've told people and you've been under the impression that black faces don't sell magazines. But they had to come to Michael Jackson after Thriller, Shawn. And they had to make a decision and say, you know what, we're going to bring Michael Jackson on. We want him to be on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And he was multiple times. I don't know who the hell Harry Styles is. I thought it was Styles from Teen Wolf at first. Who is this? Who is this louse?
He's some alphabet clown. Some no talent who's looking to generate some controversy by calling out Michael Jackson. So
I don't think he did it. I think Rolling Stone did it.
I know Rolling Stone did it, but Rolling Stone, what they want to do is create propaganda that makes it where they try to minimize Michael Jackson's legacy. And Michael Jackson's legacy will never be erased or minimized because he was an icon for multiple generations, and his contributions to music, they just can't be erased. And what we have here is an opportunist looking to get some cheap heat.
I'm sorry, look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, this says it. I'm sorry, Shawn, to interrupt you, but this says it all. If you have no doubt why they put him on the magazine cover.
Yeah, because he's alphabet.
Look at that. Yeah, well, he's dating Olivia Wilde, according to this. But look at that. He got Olivia Wilde's earrings in his ears. He's wearing
got her blouse on.
He's wearing a blouse. Yeah, looks like he's got lipstick on. He took from his girlfriend's closet, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is about. Look at this is your king.
It's a clown. This image of manhood that they're elevating is not good for America.
Tyrese says he's a simp.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this month. What songs has he put out? Now, I'm in the music industry a little, so I know some things of people. I've heard the name, but I've never listened to them, I should say. You know how you know of people but don't know them?
Yeah.
I hardly barely know of the guy. His name has been in passing.
He's a lame, and what Rolling Stone wants to do is they want to try to erase, like I said before, Michael Jackson's legacy. What they want to do is try to make it where Michael Jackson's legacy doesn't exist, but you can't erase Michael Jackson's legacy because he was an icon for generations. So what your Rolling Stone wants to do is they want to go out here and try to crown a new king, but this court jester isn't fit to even wear one of Michael Jackson's gloves because he's a no-talent hack. And if he had some talent, he wouldn't have to be crowned the new king of Pop-Tarts by your Rolling Stone. And they know what they're doing because they know that's why they call it King of Pop-Tarts, because they know if they use King of Pop, they're going to get sued by the Jackson estate for violating a trademark. And they know what they're doing with this whole gimmick. And this whole gimmick is trying to get your Harry Styles over, but your Harry Styles isn't going to get over because he's, again, a low seed, no talent hack who can't get over on the merits of his own music because he's, again, another one of these effeminate lames. And he's such a lame that he needs Rolling Stone to do dirty work to try to, again, go after Michael Jackson. But I find it that all these people always want to put Michael Jackson's name in their mouth. And the reason why, again, they want to do that is because they have no talent of their own and they can't go out here and get themselves over by doing the work.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember this too. Michael Jackson, when you talk about changing the game, Michael Jackson is the reason why MTV is what it is today. MTV was a fledgling music television station. Back then, they only played, how they did it was showing the artist singing like on a stage. They didn't have a story to tell with the music videos. He made what he liked to call short movies of the music that he was producing and creating. When he did Thriller, you actually had Thriller like it was a 1950s movie when he started out on that date with Ola Ray, and then he turned into that werecat and frightened everybody. And then you switch to the 80s when he's in the theater with Ola Ray on a date, and the music starts. So he treated it, and then the ending treated it like it was a 1960s horror serial, right? Like Night of the Living Dead. So he was doing that with Beat It, with Billie Jean. He made sure that the music videos captured the audience's attention. And remember, at one point when Michael got older, he actually crowned Chris Brown as the next one. He actually said that's the next one. And then Chris Brown got attacked because of that thing with Rihanna. That derailed him. If that hadn't happened, he might be there. But every black man in this country, Shawn, every black entertainer, every black athlete gets an asterisk by their name. If it's not Muhammad Ali, it's Barry Bonds. If it's not Barry Bonds, now it's George Foreman. It's Michael Jackson. It's James Brown. It's Sam Cooke. He's a rapist. Chris Brown is a woman beater. David Ruffin abuses drugs and is an abuser. Everybody gets it. Everybody gonna get it. Nobody is safe. Sammy Davis Jr., tax evasion. Red Fox, tax evasion. Joe Louis. It don't matter. You can be the biggest coon. You could be cooning and still get a nigga wake up call, like Paul Mooney said.
They don't care. They don't want
Larry Elder got one when he was facing, some accusations. He was running for governor of New York. Remember?
Yeah.
Not that I say he didn't deserve it, because I can't stand the son of a bitch, but it is what it is. But they're still mad. Superstar Bella said they're still mad at Michael Jackson purchasing the Beatles catalog. He just didn't purchase the Beatles catalog. A lot of people make the mistake thinking it's just the Beatles. But it was also the black artists that were in that catalog. It's called the ATV Publishing. That's why if you notice now, they call it Sony ATV.
Yeah.
Because in '95, Michael Jackson merged with Sony, and he kept his ownership interest in the ATV catalog and also owned artists in the Sony catalog. So he owned Jay-Z, he owned Beyonce, he owned Little Richard's music, he owned Sly and the Family Stone, Nat King Cole, just the two songs. He also owned Bruce Springsteen. So just think of this, Shawn. He owned Santa Claus is Coming to Town and the Christmas song.
Yep.
You know the Christmas song, right?
Nat King Cole.
Yeah. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
They didn't like the idea of a black man having that kind of wealth.
Yeah. Do you know how Wealthy, those two songs, Santa Claus, Santa and Chestnuts is work.
The billions.
That's played all the
Yep.
time during Christmas on every radio station in every city around the world. Chestnut, Mel Torme, who wrote the Christmas song, he and Bob Wells, you know what he called it? He called it his annuity
Yeah.
because he could have retired just off that song. And now, of course, Michael Jackson's family, they don't own his catalog anymore. They don't own his interest. They sold it supposedly for $750 million, but it's actually worth 4 times that much. Could have gotten
And,
a billion.
and that's
Yeah.
why you hold on to your catalog.
I'm talking about the ATV catalog.
Yeah.
And he would have,
Publishing.
and he was going to buy. He was in talks of trying to buy Marvel Comics at one point.
I wish he did because it would have saved that company.
Well, he and Stan Lee.
Yeah.
But who owns Marvel now? Disney.
Yeah.
He wanted to also buy Universal Studios.
They didn't like the idea of a black man with wealth. Whenever
Right.
black men start to talk about economics, that's when they have a problem with them. As long as you're buying, spending money, and buying mansions and houses and cars, they have no problem with you. But the minute you start talking about wealth building assets and you start talking about controlling your economic future, they have a problem with you. The same problem they had with Michael Jackson was the same problem they had with Prince, same problem they had with Bill Cosby, and even the same problems with the Houston Texans quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Whenever you start talking about money and controlling money, that's when they want to discredit you. That's when they want to demonize you. That's when they want to take you out because you represent competition. And they don't mind you being rich and buying houses and cars and chasing women because they know that rich goes broke, but wealthy, this is what people use to build legacies. And this is how people build their fortunes over time. So they don't really want you going out here and building wealth. And that's the problem they had with Michael Jackson. And that's why they want to tear down his name and tear down his legacy so others won't be inspired to go out here and build wealth like he did.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. It's about building wealth. I mean, look what they did with Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
They say Sam Cooke wanted to own and control his own music. You know, there ought to be I know there have been documentaries about his death, but I think people ought to look more into what happened with him. I know there have been a documentary called Lady Who Shot Me, but I think more could be done, especially before the alleged victim, the complaining witness, passes away, like they're trying to do with this Emmett Till heifer.
Yeah. There needs to be more done.
Yeah. All right. Well, Shawn, I don't have too much more. Do we want to do another plug-in?
All right. Well, the SJS Direct 2021 books are currently available on Amazon.com, and these include ISIS Legacy and E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. And you can pick up both of those books in paperback and Kindle format right now. And right now, I'm starting to get ready for the fall 2022 catalog, and that's going to consist of the upcoming book, The Woman Crisis, and the prose edition of John Haynes at Death's Door. Now, I'm pondering on trying to figure out if a way to bring John Haynes at Death's Door to those who weren't able to get the Kickstarter. So I'm still thinking about how I want to go out here and sell the book to those who missed out on the Kickstarter. So trying to figure out a way to get a second chance thing out here for those who want to pick up John Haynes. So I'm hoping that I can come up with an idea that doesn't make it where people who picked up the Kickstarter can go out here. I want to do something possibly with a new cover so that people who get this second chance book will get something different than the people who got the first book. So I'm still working on that.
Right. Michael's doctor was a patsy.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Michael was murdered. Do you think he was murdered?
I don't know. I would have to say it's a toss up, but it could be because again, whenever black men start talking about wealth and have wealth, they don't really like them. So it's a possibility he could have been taken out.
What about Prince?
Prince, I think, could have been too. I mean, a lot of these guys, they don't know what's going on. And again, wealthy black men are a problem for white supremacy, and they want to make their deaths appear to look a certain way so that they, as long as they eliminate them, they can put an asterisk next to their name.
Yeah. You'll never see them crown a new king of rock and roll.
No.
Michael's biggest problem, he didn't get, I fault him on, he didn't get Lisa Marie pregnant. That really pissed him off.
Yeah.
Get one for the team, baby. You married her. Okay, that's one thing. As much as Elvis Presley stole from niggas, like Paul Mooney said, it's time we got something back. Knock her up. That's the first part. He should have gotten it, then the circle would have been complete. The revenge would have been sweet, huh?
Extra sweet.
Yeah. Did you see the movie on Elvis? I doubt you did. With Tom Hanks playing Colonel Parker.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, yeah, it's out. I gotta take a look at it. But interesting enough, the guy who plays Elvis, I think his name is Dez Butler, if I'm not mistaken. Denzel Washington actually gave him his break. Told him to cast him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actor's name Austin Butler. Yeah, Austin Butler. I'm sorry. Yeah. So what else is up, Sean?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be editing The Woman Crisis. I've finally got that book where it needs to be. And right now I'm just editing for punctuation and grammar. I've got all the topics down to present my thesis. I'm hoping that people come out for The Woman Crisis like they did the Man Crisis, because I want to help women the same way I help men. A lot of men say the Man Crisis transformed their lives. So that's what I'm going to be working on once I leave the show. But tomorrow night's live stream is going to be a follow-up to a topic that I talked about, the power of walking away. Now, one of my viewers said that live stream basically had an impact on him and his career, and I'm going to follow up by talking a bit more about the power of walking away.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. The power of walking away. And
yeah.
One who cares says, I think so, in my opinion. Well, let's go back before we leave. I want to go back and look at the poll. I asked if anybody felt that college was still worth it. 25 votes, 16% of you said yes to 84% saying no. So a bunch of people would be like Kanye West, college dropout after your late registration.
It just isn't worth it unless you're going for specialized training, like being a lawyer, a doctor, or a teacher. It's just not worth spending all that money. I mean, YouTube has opened the door. I mean, I've learned so much about automotive repair and PC repair, and built up on my A+ certification for PC repair just by watching YouTube videos, and a lot of stuff out here. You don't need to keep spending money to pay some college to go get lessons that you're not even going to apply in your real life. I mean, as I see it, YouTube opens the door if you want to learn about different topics, and it's just better to go to YouTube and listen to experts. I mean, right now I'm learning about how to fix cars and paint cars from just watching videos from guys who are just doing this stuff. And it really, you can learn a lot of the stuff on YouTube for free.
All right. Shout out to Sean. Thank you. Yeah. I'm just looking through. O'Shea Duke Jackson posted a video of Sylvester Stallone getting dumped by his wife of 25 years. Allegedly, it was over him wanting to get a new dog.
Yeah, she wanted to cash out.
She cashed
another
out.
dude. She see another dude down the block she want to get with before she hit bus downtown.
Would you ever be interested in marriage?
Only under the standard of God, not under the standard of the state.
Only in a church, you're saying?
No, not the church, but I mean, standard of God is where you making vows before the Most High, and y'all are making your promises in a covenant with the Most High. There's no government involved in that marriage.
I see what you're saying. You have I mean, well, from what I'm saying and what it seems like you're saying, like most men think there's an issue with the way marriage is in this country, how it's set up.
Yeah, it's been commodified. I talk about this in depth in The Woman Crisis, how the institution of marriage has been commodified and turned into a business. And what is happening is that many of these feminist indoctrinated women, what they do is because they commodify relationships, they look to go out here and invest in men. And then when those men start making decent money, they want to cash out and monkey branch to another man. And they're looking because they're constantly looking for a better deal. Because what these women want to do is they want to go out here and get with the man who has the most resources, live with him for a while, and then cash out with a divorce, and then try to monkey branch to another man. And what happens is once they monkey branch to that other man, they wind up messing up their lives, because instead of building wealth with one man, they wind up trying to keep monkey branching, and they wind up with nothing at all at the end.
Yeah. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wrap this up. Speaking of books and so forth, I have my book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States, available on Kindle. That is a must-read. Even my boy, Andrew Wyatt, the spokesperson for Bill Cosby, actually called it a must-read, an excellent done book. He read through all of it, Shawn.
Yeah.
So you all need to buy that. It's just a R. Kelly. They know his. It's just the same with R. Kelly. They know his catalog is worth worth $1 billion. That's why they want to make sure he's locked up. Well, I think that plays a role in it, like all things. Whenever you go for your intellectual property, it's an issue. Conventional marriage is a third-party contract. We're talking about marriage. Well, there is such a thing in Louisiana as a covenant marriage. And what that means is it's a much more stricter form of marriage. When you have a covenant marriage, it's very hard to get a divorce, because then you got to go through all of the steps of having, a therapist, being with a family therapist, seeking therapy. It takes a longer time to be separated. That's essentially, I don't think you want a covenant marriage. But yeah, women are cashing out on men. That's how it's going. That's why so many men are single now.
Yeah.
Did you write a book called Why Black Men Are Single, or was it?
I wrote Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, detailing all the reasons why Black women can't find a man to marry them. So I
But
go
you
in
had
depth.
one on men too, right? Or do you?
No, I wrote the Stop Simping books for men.
Right. That'd be one for men why they're single and just pointing this crap out.
Yeah. Well, men are single because there's no woman there who is fit for marriage, because they've been indoctrinated into feminism. And in feminism, the women want to try to make their own partner. I go on in depth on this in The Woman Crisis. They want to create their own partner out of these guys in the dregs of society, but there is no man is going to be submitted to a woman. That just goes counter to the way God wired men. I also talk about that in Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. It runs counter to what God established for men. So any attempt to turn a man into the submitted male just leads to him resisting and leaving, because that's basically a son, not a husband. And no man wants to be put in a role under a woman where he is like her son in a codependent relationship.
Yeah. All right. Well, Shawn is the man, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Shawn. Please purchase his books, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, as well as The Woman Crisis, which will be available this fall. But he also has The Man Crisis that's available I agree with that, man. Stock immaturity. Yeah. Feminism has destroyed the family. I mean, people are still married to this day. My folks are married almost 50 years. It's been about 46 years of marriage. So it's possible. It's not easy. But I want kids one day. I'm trying to have one. So, but yeah, you want to wait till you're ready and you got your finances in order, you know? All right. Well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the Commonwealth, I mentioned the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You can also go to our Facebook page, subscribe there, order you some Nani's Creole seasoning blends. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish, doesn't it, Shawn? Even with turkey burgers. But Shawn loves those.
Yeah.
Join the Patreon. If you'd like to advertise, email us. Please, guys, donate to the Cash App, PayPal, or Google Pay. You know, this channel is not monetized. And shout out to Andrew Wyatt, because Andrew Wyatt gifted me very lucrative. I'm not going to say how much, but he looked out for me when he hit up the PayPal. I appreciate that. This channel is not monetized, and it's important you support us like Shawn, because Shawn even has 14,000 subscribers, and yet he doesn't have a monetized channel. YouTube took that away. YouTube took away my monetization. That's why I'm moving my stuff gradually off of YouTube and onto Rumble, which is pretty good. So I'm actually going to do a new video. I'm actually going to put in some work with some videos I'm doing on Rumble, as well as updating you all some things. If you are in the New Orleans area, and this is shout out to my man DeAndre Mobley, if you're still there, you need to come out to the comedy show that we have this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, at the Well. Comedy comes back at the Well. It's gonna be a banger. We got Mark Caesar headlining. I have Terry Scott, Chu Boo, Brandon Haynes, and Kyron Hargrove, who are all gonna be my featured acts. You all don't want to miss it. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know, but we had a special celebrity give us a shout out on TikTok. The one and only Shannon Sharp actually shouted out my show. Let's hear what he had to say.
They gotta get their laugh on at the Well. Yo, this is JC. I just want to say y'all gotta get y'all laugh on at the Well. Skip, they gotta get their laugh on at the Well. Because Buck Caesar headlining, Gavin Richard hosting, it's gonna be big.
Thank you, Shay Sharp. Shannon Sharp shouted me out. You heard him, huh?
Yeah.
Yes. Shannon Sharp. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. So in the meantime, also download and purchase Gotta Get On Up, which is available on iTunes, Apple, and Spotify, as well as Video Soul. I'm working on some new music now, Shawn. So I'm going to be doing that. But let's go on and get on up, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Computer Robots finished my book and
Awesome.
he gave me high marks. He won't tell everything, but you all ought to buy it. What you mean he gonna sue? He did this. Shannon and I go back. We're good friends. He was more cheaper than Charles Barkley. You know, Charles Barkley got Subway money. Eat fresh, Ernie. Get one from Subway. You know, I couldn't decide whether I could have done the live golf where I would have been making millions of dollars, more than I did on TNT. But then I wouldn't have been able to talk about street clothes or do them pictures for Subway. And I like to eat fresh, Ernie. So, yeah. So feel the groove, get on the floor. It's time to get on up. But yes, Random Topic Thursdays. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to end this poll as well. 84% of you saying you aren't going back to college. That's saying something. Okay. All right, let's go on and get on up. Thank you, Brother Shawn James. And
Thank you for having me.
Tune out to our show Sunday. I think I'll be on with Victor on Sunday promoting the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby, the book, ladies and gentlemen. One Who Cares says she'll be married 29 years in September. Congratulations, honey. But let's go on. Thank you, Shawn, for coming in.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right. This is Club Shay Thing. Gavin Richard, ladies and gentlemen. And now, welcome again. Thank you again. We love you all. Be blessed, and be safe. I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. 'Cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on Earth, Wind, and Fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
All right, y'all. Y'all don't forget to feel the groove, get on the floor. And I'm going to tell you right now, Skip, they got to get on the groove. They got to do it because if they don't, I'm going to slap their ass and get my restitution. Now, y'all better come out to that comedy film that I just promoted on August 27th for my man, G. Rich, my man, Gavin Richard. He going to bring it. And if you don't, he going to get his restitution too. So y'all better come on out to the hottest comedy show in New Orleans at the Well. It's going down with Mark Steven. It's going down with Terry Scott. True Brew, Brandon Haynes, and my man, Kyron Hargrove. Y'all better go ahead and get y'all laugh on right now. It says it right there. Get your laugh on at the well. That's right, 1600 Basic Street, $50 in advance, Skip. You better get this now, Skip. All y'all better get this now. Now y'all go ahead. I personally put Gavin's Rumble page, the video, the link in there so you all can do it. I also put the link right here in the post comments where you can buy the tickets if you want to support Brother Gavin. Y'all want to support the show and give money to the stand-up comedians that do their job, that work all the time, Skip, that got here while they were here. Y'all better come out and support. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace, Club 84. I'm gonna get my workout on. Night, Skip.